Hi and welcome back. Now that you've identified your core values and understood your personality, it's time to set some goals. Goals that would help you live a life that's consistent with your values. Over the years, I've realized that few people have money goals that are just money goals. On their own, financial goals may not have much meaning. Whether it's to pay off debt, save or invest, a money goal is usually a life goal dressed up in money clothing. To be truly successful at this, we need to start with the life goal and work out what the financial implications of that goal are in our lives. Money goals are usually a consequence or a precursor of these life goals and may have implications in other areas such as career, health, family, or spiritual. For example, you might set a career goal to be the owner of your own yoga studio in 5 years. This may require you to pay for some training courses in the short term and pay for the fit out and launch of the studio in the 5-year period. But it's also likely to create health goals such as fitness and flexibility. If you've ever been part of a goal setting exercise either at work or elsewhere in your own life, you're likely to have come across the concept of SMART goals. This concept is encapsulated neatly in a speech by President John F. Kennedy to a joint session of the US Congress in May 1961. In this speech, he identifies the goal, before this decade is out, of landing a man on the moon and returning him safely to the Earth. Now let's talk a bit about why this was a SMART goal. It was specific, simply and clearly stated, and defined the what, why, and how. It was measurable. We would know clearly when we've achieved it, when the man safely returns to Earth. It was assignable. The entirety of NASA was assigned to this task. It was realistic. Sure, it's a bit challenging, but they had the resources to do it. It was time-bound, in that it had to be achieved by the end of the decade. And history, of course, records that it was in fact achieved in July of 1969. I'm sure I'm not telling you anything new here. This technique is used by businesses all around the world, with somewhat mixed results. But life's not a business. There's something missing here when it comes to personal goals. Something that will make the difference between success and failure. Something that I've learned the hard way. Let me explain. In 1983, when I was a 20-year-old would-be engineering graduate, just about to finish my bachelor's degree, a small group of classmates sat in the university bar one evening and set a goal of earning £25,000 by the time we turned 25. So 25 by 25, pretty memorable, yeah? It was a pretty audacious goal back then. So just to put that in perspective, my first job as an associate at a consulting firm paid £6,900, and £25,000 will buy you a small flat in some parts of London. But it ticked all the boxes when it came to goals. It was specific, measurable, time-bound, and a little bit of a stretch. But helped along by a bit of inflation, a good proportion of us actually achieved it. In my case, it helped that I completed an MBA. So why did I wake up in the morning after my 25th birthday with quite a hangover and a deep sense of, is that it? I was clearly too young to be having a midlife crisis. So what was missing? The missing ingredient was the significance. There was no emotional hook. Sure, the goal was achieved, but the success was empty. What was missing was this emotional resonance, the ER in smarter goals. As Tony Robbins said, success without fulfillment is the ultimate failure. There was no sense of, if I achieve this goal, I will be, I will feel, or I will do. So knowing what I know now, I would have been much better focusing not on the money, but on what I could do or feel after I've achieved the goal. That goal would have meant more had I aimed to have a deposit and be able to buy my first home, for example. Now it's time to apply this to your specific situation. So how do you get started? Well, start with a vision of how you see your life in 6 months, a year, 5 years or longer. With this vision, you can create goals based on your values. Next, create some action steps that will ensure your success. When you set goals this way, you'll be better positioned to get the most from the money you have and to keep to a budget that supports rather than restricts you. So now let's go and set some goals. Download the worksheet and write down your goals. You can do this as a couple or a family. If you do it individually first. Take your time. This is a special time for you to uncover your deepest desires and discover what really matters to you as an individual, as a couple, and as a family. Write them all down, even if you're not sure if they're achievable. Remember, people who write down their goals are much more likely to achieve them and take the necessary action to make them happen. Your goals should embrace your entire life. It's useful to think about them under the headings of personal, health, financial and career. Then look at 3 time periods, 1 year, 5 years and 10 years. Now this creates 12 categories, that's 4 areas times 3 time periods. So don't get too carried away. Try to limit yourself to 1 or 2 goals in each category. You don't need to set something in every category though. And keep in mind that some short-term goals may support longer-term ones. Now review your goals. So go through them and ask yourself, is this goal in my best interest? Why do I want to achieve this goal? Why is it important? If I achieve this goal, how will it affect my life? Is this goal going to improve my life? After answering these questions, you might find that you need to revise your goals or create some new ones. Then prioritize. If you're going to do this as a couple or a family, combine your list together and categorize them as individual couple or family goals. Set priorities within each of these areas. Ask yourself, which value is this goal satisfying? Now it's time to make your goals smarter. Now you've set your priorities, rewrite the goals so that they pass the SMARTER test. Be specific about what your goals are. Write them down to create clarity. Make your goals measurable so that you'll know when you achieve them. Are your goals assignable? Who's going to do what to make them happen? Are they realistic? Set timeframes about when you'd like to achieve your goals. This gets you moving into action. Then review and adapt. In the future, pull out your revised list and check it periodically, making needed changes to your goals. Maybe you need to adjust the time frame or the goal itself. As you grow and your life changes, so too should your goals. Being flexible is important. There are many different paths to achieve the same outcome. And finally, celebrate your wins. Acknowledge and celebrate as you achieve your goals or make progress towards them. Enjoy the journey along the way and seeing how your combined efforts are creating your desired change. Don't get so fixated on the finish line that you forget to smell the roses along the way. Cherish those little moments of victory. Now you've reached the end of this course, the hard work that you've put in over these 3 modules will give you the foundation you need to start living the life you want with the money you have. The next step in your money journey is to create a budget in line with these values that will support you in achieving the goals you've just set. Well done.